Now we want to move past us here to the north, and the city that has seen it all except for this, New York City, is under a hurricane warning tonight. Extremely rare. So are the fact that mandatory evacuations are underway. Lester Holt is inside the evacuation zone in Lower Manhattan. Lester, we've had minor flooding over the years where they've taken some folks out of nursing homes, perhaps a hospital or two, but this kind of thing has never happened in New York City.
You know, Brian, interesting you said seen it all. There are 8 million of us living in New York City. We do feel at times we've seen it all. Heck, we had an earthquake this week. But when the mayor announced mandatory evacuations in part of the city, it got a lot of folks' attention here. Tonight, an urgent reality is gripping the Big Apple. The naked city has never felt so exposed. Tens of thousands of New Yorkers in low-lying neighborhoods now under orders to get out.
I feel nervous. I feel like I don't know what's going on. I don't really know what's going to happen. That's always a scary feeling.
The city has produced a map showing the relative flood risk in the 5 boroughs. For now, those closest to the coast, Zone A, are under an evacuation order. Today, seniors at this Brooklyn hospital were among the first to be relocated.
I can't stress it enough. Please, nature is a force more powerful than any of us, and it really is better to be safe than sorry.
This is Battery Park at the lower tip of Manhattan, sitting virtually at sea level. It's less than a half mile from the financial district. It would be the first area to be overwhelmed by a storm surge. Experts say the entire area could be buried in water, even flooding the Holland Tunnel that carries car traffic between lower Manhattan and New Jersey.
New York City is perhaps the most vulnerable mega city in the world. If a major hurricane comes to New York City, our tunnels are very vulnerable.
Wind is the other big threat, of course, and today construction crews are making plans to secure the scores of towering cranes that dot the skyline. Here at the World Trade Center rebuilding site, Larry Davis has 11 rigs in use.
If they're not secured, they could collapse, in the high winds. They're designed for 100, 110 mile an hour winds.
The subways are the lifeblood of New York City, carrying over 5 million passengers a day. That's nearly twice the population of Chicago. But the tracks are susceptible to flooding. Like 2007, when rain falling at 2 inches an hour from a tornado-related storm did this. Irene is expected to drop rain at more than twice that rate. Tonight, with train service shutting down soon, those New Yorkers not under evacuation orders are gaming out when and how they'll get out if and when the time comes.
You have to start your preparations to leave right now. Keep in mind, afternoon, tomorrow, you're not going to have the advantage of mass transit to help you do that.
Now imagine being a city official and the to-do list when you're facing a hurricane in New York City. Among the things you have to think about, tourists. There are tens of thousands of them in the city right now, the peak tourist season. I spoke to many of them who aren't quite sure what's coming. I found I had to deliver the news to them, and they're trying to figure out what to do. The airlines will start paring down flights soon, and Brian, at some point, the airlines will stop flying when that hurricane comes through here.
And Lester, I talked to some first responders last night who were worried about water actually breaching the pit, Ground Zero, the site of the new museum, because it's not far from the river, of course, there. And second, flooding the planes, the runways at both JFK and LaGuardia, which are, of course, adjacent to bodies of water.
They both sit on water. In fact, it's pretty much like what you see behind me. The runways are about, at LaGuardia, certainly about this level over the water. So, yes, the airports could be shut down for quite some time. I was at the Ground Zero site a few days ago, and we all remember from the disaster time, it's a bathtub there. There is a wall there to protect it from the river. So right now they're bracing for anything. That's just a stone's throw from where I am right now.
Some of it we can't even think about. The computer animation of the flooding of the tunnel is like a very bad summer movie. Lester Holt in Lower Manhattan will be talking a lot, I'm sure.